Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to today's video. This episode will guide you through the issues of the Uncanny X-Men published by Marvel Comics in 1975, with this issue being the final one of this year. Issue number 96. John Proudstar, the Native American X-Men called Thunderbird, is dead. He died in a valiant effort, trying to stop the villain Count Nefaria from escaping. The fighter plane they were both on crashed, and even though he had been warned several times to get himself out of harm's way, his pride and rage got the best of him. He burned alive in the wreckage, if the crash itself had not killed him. The X-Men's team leader, Cyclops, can't stop thinking about this. Even though he has faced death many times in his young life, he had always managed to keep death at bay. Until now. Until Thunderbird. And he feels guilty about this. It has been weeks since John Proudstar died, but he can't stop thinking about it. He can't stop wondering if John would still be alive today if he had acted differently. He can't stop going over John's final moments in his mind. How he kept smashing the cockpit, trying to prove a point. How Banshee tried to make him get off the plane. How the plane exploded in the air and then crash landed on the ground. A crash landing John Proudstar did not walk away from. Even though the X-Men were successful in stopping Count Nefaria's plans and saved the world from a nuclear holocaust, they lost one of their teammates in doing so. And no matter what Cyclops tries, he simply cannot balance those scales in his heart and mind. It frustrates him to the point where he just lashes out. He fires his eye blast at the trees around him, full power, cutting loose without a thought, care or restraint. He knows there's no one around him who he could hurt. He has never let go like this before, and without knowing it, he wrecks an old statue which was hidden in the woods. The power inside Scott flows through him like a thing alive. He is overcome with feelings of hatred and an unholy glory. A need and a hunger as he just keeps on blasting away. But then the moment passes and Scott falls to his knees. He is himself again and asks himself what he has done. He looks around at the destruction he has caused and reflects on himself. About what he has done and what his position is. About the rules and risks that come with being the leader of the X-Men. It means that he has to take the bad along with the good. In this position, he can watch his friends live, but it also means that he will have to watch his friends die. And all his sorrow and wishing will not bring Thunderbird back. John is dead, and he and his friends are alive. There's no use in lingering on what could have been. And as he says his goodbyes to John, he simply pays no attention to the statue he just wrecked. Over at the mansion, in the X-Men's training room called the Danger Room, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm and Wolverine are honing their skills during a playful training session. During the session, Wolverine gets slapped away by Colossus. Piotr did not mean to hit Wolverine full power, but he got surprised and couldn't help himself. He asks Wolverine if he's hurt, but Wolverine says that he isn't. All it did though was make him mad, and he pops his claws out. Wolverine heads back towards Colossus and tells him to prepare himself, because this is going to hurt him. But Wolverine did not account for Storm interfering, as she uses her mutant powers and unleashes a blast of wind at Wolverine, which throws him back again. Nightcrawler cannot help laughing at that, and Wolverine tells him that he does not like being laughed at. By no one. He then jumps at Nightcrawler with his claws out, and Storm tells Nightcrawler to watch out for him. As Wolverine slashes at Kurt, he teleports out of the way just in time. Banshee, who was watching this unfold with Professor X, tells Wolverine he should take it easy, because he could have killed Nightcrawler. But Wolverine doesn't seem to care, and simply tells Sean that he knows. Xavier then asks Banshee if he could have a word with him. The training session in the Danger Room continues, and Sean and Xavier talk about what happened in the past few weeks. Charles tells Sean that he's worried about Scott. He can tell that Scott is heavily affected by Thunderbird's death, possibly even more so than the others. Xavier can tell that Cyclops is starting to brood and make mistakes. And he tells Sean that he's not sure on how to deal with Scott's troubles. He then notices that it's already 4 o'clock, and he tells Sean that he's expecting their new housekeeper, who will also look after the house when he himself is gone. Sean then asks Xavier where he's planning on going, but he doesn't get an answer from him, and instead, the doorbell rings. Sean then makes his way to the front door of the mansion, to open it up for the woman named Maura McTaggart. As he opens the door after making his way there, and getting somewhat annoyed with her impatience, he sees a woman standing there who looks entirely different from what he was expecting. With him being somewhat annoyed, it results in him rudely asking who the person standing at the door is. And after Maura tells Sean who she is and what she's here for, she asks him if he wants to make something of it then. And Maura's sturdiness just leaves Sean speechless. We then move more upstate to the Adirondack Mountains, where, deep within, a meeting takes place between Dr. Stephen Lang and Colonel Michael Rossi. Colonel Rossi arrives at the base where Dr. Lang has been working at for over 6 years. His project is now nearing fruition, and he is starting to get nervous. He asks Rossi if he's right in assuming that he's here to bring him good news, but all Rossi can tell him now is that he has news which are for his ears alone, so the two of them take a walk away from the rest of the personnel. Lang asks Rossi if it's been agreed on and whether he has gotten the green light, but Rossi tells him that no, they haven't given him approval yet. He tells Lang that the council wants a final report before they do, and Rossi is here to make that report and give it to them. But Stephen Lang already knows that Rossi is against what he has been working on for 6 long years. They used to be friends in the past, and Stephen asks Michael Rossi what happened between them. Rossi tells him that this project is exactly what happened between them. 6 years of his life, and billions of dollars illegally appropriated. And for what? He then asks Stephen. Only to be able to kidnap a couple of lousy mutants? Lang then starts to get all riled up, and tells Rossi that yes, that is exactly what this is for. To kidnap them and secure them, for an in-depth examination, so that mankind will finally know its true enemy. He tells Rossi that that is what his work is all about. Project Armageddon, the final ultimate conflict between Homo sapiens and Homo superior, the final conflict between man and mutant. As they continue making their way through the facility, Lang asks Rossi if he thinks he's exaggerating the threat these mutants pose, and Rossi tells him he believes there to be no threat to begin with. Lang asks Rossi why, and if it's because the only known mutants humanity is aware of are the X-Men. He then tells Rossi that that is foolish. He continues by telling him that the man called Bolivar Trask knew and understood the dangers mutants pose, and he pointed humanity in the right direction. He tried to stop the mutants, and Lang tells Rossi that the mutants killed him for it. Him and his son both. But Lang will not allow the mutants to destroy him. Every single contingency has been prepared for. No detail has been overlooked in this project. Nothing is being left to chance. The mutants cannot stop him. As a matter of fact, no one can stop him now. But Rossi then responds to Lang by telling him that he can surely stop him. Michael Rossi tells his old friend that he is wrong about this, all the way down the line. But Lang interrupts him, telling him that in all actuality, Michael himself is the one that's wrong. Lang then compares humanity to the Neanderthal, who was facing the Cro-Magnon in the prehistoric past, facing extinction and being replaced by the next evolutionary step. It is either humanity or the mutants. Them or us. Kill or be killed, and there is no other way. Rossi then tells Stephen that even if that was true, his project is not the answer. Not in the current day and age. He tells Lang that this country would not survive that kind of witch hunt. According to Rossi, Project Armageddon is over. It will be finished as soon as he gets back to Washington. And as Rossi walks off, Lang says that he's sorry too, because this means that his old friend cannot be allowed to ever reach Washington. Not while still being alive. Later in the evening at the Xavier Mansion in New York, the X-Men get formally introduced to their new housekeeper Maura. Xavier tells them all that Maura will be looking after the house, while he is away, but will also be keeping an eye on them. Wolverine, who is playing a game of tic-tac-toe, carving with his claws, asks Charles if he plans on going away. Charles tells him that every man needs a vacation now and then, and that he has decided that it's time for him to do so now. Banshee apologizes for his rude behavior this afternoon, and tells Moira that he would be honored if she would join him for a cup of coffee. Xavier notices how Banshee seems to be quite taken by Moira's presence, and Storm tells him that they all are, in one way or another. She asks Xavier why it is that if he's so intent on keeping their existence secret from the rest of the world, that he did reveal the X-Men's true nature to this housekeeper. Xavier tells Storm that that is his business, but he tells her that she can be rest assured that everyone's secret is safe with Moira until death. As he asks Storm if she has seen Cyclops anywhere, they can suddenly all hear the sound of Cyclops' I-beams blasting on full power, and it's coming from outside. But not for long though, as Scott gets smashed right through the window. Banshee immediately tries to help Scott up, telling him to remain calm and that he'll be fine. But Scott tells Banshee that he doesn't understand. Whatever it was that attacked Scott was right behind him and was coming up fast, and it will be here any second now. As a matter of fact, it is here right now. The X-Men are all shocked to see what it was that attacked Cyclops, shocked to hear the growl of a demonic looking figure, which introduces itself as Kirok the Damned. And it has come for them, for their lives and for their very souls. As it approaches Cyclops again, it says that he has come for him, since he is the one who has awakened this demon before its time. Xavier tells the X-Men to scatter and attack the demon as a team. The demon figures that Xavier is their leader, and wants to attack him now instead, but Storm steps up, right between the two of them. Xavier tells Storm to not do this though. He tells her that his mental powers will protect him, that he is in no danger, unlike her. He tells her to get out of here now, because she is no match for Kirok on her own. As she tries to flee, Kirok strikes her with his claws, and she falls to the ground. Kirok tells her that her death will be a quick one, and that she should thank him for his kindness. Colossus then steps in between the two of them and tells Kirok that Storm will not do such a thing. Storm tries to tell Colossus to be careful, but he tells Storm that this creature threatened her and tried to kill her, which is something he will not allow, and he punches Kirok as hard as he can, knocking it away from Storm, Xavier and the rest of the X-Men. It tries to get up from the debris it's lying in. It tells them that he is a child of the Ngarai, a child of the Elder Gods, and that they once ruled this earth. It then tells them that he is their master and that they can never defeat it. It then picks up a big piece of metal and throws it right at Colossus, who cannot step out of the way, regardless of Cyclops warning him. Nightcrawler then attacks the demon, telling it that even though they might not be able to defeat it, they can at least die in trying to do so. He kicks the demon and punches it multiple times, telling it to fall already. But it doesn't fall. And instead, it whips Kurt with his tail, right into electronics, and he gets electrocuted. And Kirok tells Kurt that he doesn't fall to the likes of him, and calls him a changeling. Next, Wolverine attacks, and slashes the demon with his claws, telling it that no one beats on his body Nightcrawler, even if he is a misfit. And this attack hurts Kirok. For the first time in eons, a human being has actually been able to hurt it. Shocked by this, it instinctively slaps Wolverine away. But Wolverine gets up and tells the demon that he has seen nothing yet if he thinks he has been hurt now. He lunges at the demon and just starts tearing it up with his two claws, screaming, ripping and shredding until the demon simply stops moving. And after it's done, Wolverine realizes that the 10 years of psycho training, of hypnotism and drug therapy, the 10 years of praying have not changed him. He simply went berserk and cut the demon up in pieces, without a thought. He tells the astounded professor and the rest of the X-Men that he thought he had learned to control himself, but he guesses he was wrong. And if he's being entirely honest right now, he is actually glad that he was wrong. Cyclops then points out that Kirok is actually not even dead. Wolverine doesn't understand what's going on, and Cyclops tells him that he had blasted this creature at full strength a dozen times, and each time it simply reformed, apparently stronger than before, and leaving Scott weaker. Xavier then tells them that they all actually look weaker than before, as if the demon Kirok is leeching their life forces from them. He says that the demon must be the key to this battle and their salvation, and that he will try to mind probe it, before it's managed to fully recover from Wolverine's assault. But Cyclops does not want him to do so, because he thinks it's way too dangerous for Xavier to enter this demon's mind. But it's too late already. Xavier is already deep inside Kirok's mind. Deep inside the hell which is the mind of the Shatterer of Souls. Xavier is being swept away in a flood of alien images, having no control over the journey, until he actually becomes Kirok for the smallest of moments. And in that moment, Charles Xavier screams out in agony. On the physical plane, Kirok is recovered, and Banshee attacks him with a sonic scream, warning everyone about Kirok and telling them to get Xavier to safety, because Shaw knows that his own powers won't be able to halt Kirok for long. Moira barges in the room. She had apparently left to get herself an automatic rifle from the armory, and she starts firing it at the demon. Sean picks her up to carry her out of harm's way. He compliments her and thinks that she's very brave, but he doesn't want her to be there, so he drops her off away from the demon and goes back to attacking it again. Storm tells Cyclops that the professor is coming too, even though he's still lying on the floor, mumbling that what he saw was something that no man should have ever seen. He asks Scott how they're doing in the battle against the demon, and Scott tells him they are not doing well. They are barely holding their own. And as Cyclops is about to finish his thoughts, Xavier interrupts him by saying that they cannot defeat Kirok in hand-to-hand combat. They will have to destroy him at the source instead. The source, which is the Kern which Xavier saw in the demon's mind. And he tells Storm that she will have to seal the Kern, and he will guide her to its location. But she will have to hurry, or they will all be doomed. As Storm makes her way outside and towards the location of the cairn, she enjoys the feeling of freedom which accompanies the feeling of the night wind caressing her bare skin. Free from all the cages that mankind built to lock himself into. Free and happy and alive. But that moment only lasts momentarily, as she has arrived at the place Xavier told her to go to the place where the cairn is located, and she can sense the evil right there at that place. An ancient and monstrous evil. It will be Aurora's pleasure to destroy this portal of wickedness. But sadly, one of the demons surrounding the cairn strikes her. A phantom spear pierces her, and there's a lash of blinding agony going down Storm's back. She can feel a coldness coming from the spear, and she just knows that if she would get struck again, she'd be dead. She tries to make sense of what these creatures are. She can tell they aren't real, but merely creatures of light and smoke. Demon spawn created by the Kern and then in Garai. Storm knows that she has to act now. She has to make sure that she will not fall prey to these demonic creations, and she starts using her powers. And as she does so, she rids herself of the demons which were crowding her. She then sees an energy bolt coming straight at her from the Kern, but she's not able to get out of the way in time, and she gets hit by it. She can feel her mind starting to get fuzzy, and she's starting to lose grip of reality, not being able to concentrate anymore. She notices she's being pulled into the Kern, getting pulled into the darkness. And while she's trying to struggle her way out of the darkness, her mind is overcome by images of her youth. Images of her and her mother in Egypt, and of the both of them having been buried under the debris of a building. She starts to panic and uses all of her powers to free herself of the demons once more, and of the darkness which was surrounding her. She must and shall be free. And she then totally destroys what was left of the Kern. And because of her doing so, 30 miles removed, the demon in the mansion screams, and simply ceases to exist and turns to dust, much to the surprise of the X-Men, leaving them to wonder as to where the demon originated from and why it was attacking them. Xavier doesn't know either, but he figures that Storm must have been successful in her mission. Xavier thinks that he will probably never know the exact purpose of Kirok and the rest of the Garai, other than them wanting to rule mankind as they had done in the past. And he fears that chances are they have not heard the less of their kind. And as Storm returns to the rest of her teammates and the mansion she lives in, just outside Red Hook, New York, only a couple of miles removed from the X-Men, there is a fire burning. A plane has just crash landed here. Not only is the crash so bad that every man aboard died, but one specific passenger was on a very important mission. One Colonel Michael Rossi died aboard this plane, taking what he had learned to his grave. And there is nothing his major, who came to the scene, can do about it. And another man, who watches the scene unfold in his command module, just laughs. Thanks for watching this video and I hope you enjoyed it. You can help growing this channel by liking, subscribing and sharing. This tells YouTube that the videos I'm making should be recommended to others and would be very much appreciated. See you next episode.